That was very good timing. Hello everyone, welcome to the Initiative Order and tonight's session of the Carnaby Street Case Files, our monthly special of Call of Cthulhu. I'm your lawkeeper for tonight, Danny, and I'm joined by my amazing cast here with some very special guests who you may notice. Obviously you will, let's be honest. So, just to kick straight off, this is our second episode of the Case Files. We are set in London in the 1920s. And yeah, let's get straight into things and do a little bit of a run through of who's who. So, going round the group, I'm going to say we're going to go clockwise, but none of you know who you are and where you are, so I'll tell you. Nathan, do you want to introduce yourself and your character?
Oh, okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Nathan Flam Ridenauer. You can find me on Instagram at Dungeon Master Discussions. Today, I am playing the character of Edward Fry, a 27-year-old art curator from the United States, currently studying abroad and living in London, and now helping Scotland Yard investigate the paranormal. So, see how tonight goes.
Lovely. And going around, our first guest of the evening, Cynthia, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Cynthia Marie. You can find me on Twitter at CynthAnswer or Instagram, Cynthia__Marie. But today I will be playing Rubi Sitwell. She's a librarian who has a really awesome sister that you'll meet in a few. But yeah, 34-year-old librarian. Let's see what happens.
And then going down a little bit on the way around, our next and final guest, Satine.
That's me. Hi, everyone. I'm Satine Phoenix, at Satine Phoenix on all the social medias, satinephoenix.net. And I'm here today to play Scarlett Sitwell, and I am a fortune teller. At least I was until I had some bad luck. But my big sister Rubi, I kind of latched onto her, and I kind of follow her around only because she seems to keep me sane. And, well, you know, she's the working one, so.
Lovely. And then moving on, Bree.
Hey everyone, my name is Breanna, or Bree. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Breanna Flame. I play Dot. She is a mid-20s photojournalist, kind of randomly finding herself in London, but she's originally from Concord, Massachusetts.
And next up is Ray.
Oh, hey, everybody. My name is Ray. I play Dr. Alan Sherwin, ophthalmologist and parapsychologist investigator extraordinaire. I can be found on Instagram at GOT_DM. That's GotDM. I do D&D and crafting things. So, yeah, come check us out.
Lovely. And then finally, Noura.
Hi everyone, I'm Noura Ibrahim. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Neurological, and I am playing Eliza Beaumont, dilettante and novelist, currently residing in London, but originally from Sands Point, New York.
Lovely. Okay, So, let's get into this. To start this adventure today, I'm going to turn to Rubi and Alan, who are currently at one of the local hospitals here in London, in one of the psychiatric units, having a brief discussion. I believe you guys know what this discussion may be about.
Ruby, it's about your sister. You're on mute.
I know she's a little bit troubled right now, but I mean, you know better than anyone. What is it that we can do
It's
for
been
her?
3 years and her progress is going nowhere. And I'm afraid the hospital is going to make me do exactly what we've been talking about.
No, that's not going to happen at all.
I have no other options here.
No other options.
The manifestations she speaks of, there's the ranting that goes over and over and over again. I may have found somebody that may help us.
Who?
Come with me.
Oh, okay.
Are you sure you're able to come? Do you have... We will be gone for a couple of days at least. We need to make sure you're well prepared for this.
What am I going to do with Scarlett? I can't leave her here by herself indefinitely.
She's the only person that can give us guidance here, and you're the only one that can sign her out. Look, as her physician, I can only make so many decisions, but she needs to come out.
The world's a scary place for her right now. All right. We should probably talk to Scarlett then and make sure she's okay with this.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Ruby the key. It'll give us 10 minutes. You need to prepare her. You need to talk with her. 10 minutes.
All right.
I'm going to the front. And I'm going to go to the front to make sure no guards or nobody comes into the patient's area.
Yeah. So Ruby, you get the key and you go to Scarlett's room here in the psychiatric unit and open the door, and you see Scarlett sat in the corner of the room on a small stool, just gently rocking.
Scarlett, love.
Ruby. Do you like what they've done with my hair?
It's so beautiful. What is it that they did?
Not much, but they didn't cut it this time. It's pretty great.
That's great. Do you want me to braid your hair for you?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
We can braid your hair soon. Maybe perhaps, do you want to go on an adventure of sorts or leave this area, this place?
Leave?
Yes.
Yeah. I want to leave.
Okay, but
we
have to be very quiet about it.
Oh yeah.
We have to play a game of pretend.
I'm in.
You remember when we used to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now.
Right now. We're gonna go. You have
Can
to
you hold my hand?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We're gonna count to 10. I want you to count to 10, and at the end of 10, we are going to leave this place. I need you to be as quiet as possible and just listen to everything that I'm saying.
Okay. 1, 2. You ever notice how this place just smells really strange? And
Scarlett.
It's like 4.
Scarlett, focus.
5, 6. I wish they would give me shoes. I don't like the way my feet
Scarlett,
and my toes stick to the ground.
Look at my eyes.
7.
Keep counting.
8, 9, 10.
So on 10, I open the door and pull her out.
And I go over quickly, and I grab Scarlett with under her arm, and I place my lab coat over to kind of cover her hair as much as I can.
Oh, I don't like that. I go over to Ruby, and I'm like, I thought we were gonna go. I thought it was us. I thought we were gonna go.
It's great. This is Dr. Allen. He's going to help us. I promise you. We just got to be very
him.
quiet.
Please, we make our way as quick as we can. I'm just getting you past the first guard. After I get there, I will meet you in the back. There is a car waiting for us.
Yeah, we're gonna escape. This is good. Yeah, okay.
Good.
All right,
Good.
let's go. And I like
Okay,
dig
let's do
in
this.
more. Like one hand out.
I like
and,
hide her head, hold on to her.
And we're both, it's now getting to the point where it's comically like my lab coat's over trying to both of them. Like it looks very. And so as I walk towards the exit, I'm going to make sure that we have the way to get out and kind of guide our team to the outside to the awaiting car. And the first thing I look at is with Ruby, and I explain to is that there are a couple of friends that I told you that could help us in this situation.
Do they have shoes?
They've got shoes. They've got plenty of shoes. Scarlett, I know we were talking about some physical manifestations of the darkness and some of the visions you've been seeing. I'm going to bring you to a couple of people I've met, and maybe we can get some answers. And I awkwardly smile and just hold open the door of the car.
Okay, so as you step into the car, Scarlett, can you make me a sanity check?
No. No, that's a 96 on the die.
Okay. Okay, as Alan is holding the door and kind of assisting you up into the car, you very suddenly just have this flash, and you lash out and slap Alan across the face with the back of your hand as hard as you can. Alan, you take 1 point of damage from the slap, as with her being in this place for a while, we'll say her nails aren't well groomed at this point. And you have a nice little kind of 3-line back of the nail scratch mark on your face.
I'm not going to push the point. I'm just going to keep moving.
Yeah, no problem. And Scarlett, it's literally momentary, and you're back in it. You're back in your surroundings again, and you get into the car, and the three of you are whisked away.
I cuddle up with Ruby.
I actually have Scarlett start counting backwards from 90.
No problem. So you guys set off to your new destination. Everyone else, Edward, Dot, and Eliza, you are all relaxing in your very quaint 2-room office on Carnaby Street, reading the local tabloids, catching up on gossip and stories from previous nights. It's just a nice, pleasant day for you three. Is there anything in particular you feel the need to get up to?
I'm absolutely looking through the gossip papers and just commenting, "Oh, she looks dreadful."
Oh my goodness, how did she do her hair like that? I don't think she owns a mirror.
Well, I don't know. I would not be caught dead with my curlers leading out in the street,
Edward, you know about that,
yelling
right?
to her lover.
I'm an expert in curlers, yes.
I could tell. Your hair looks very nice, by the way.
Well, thank you so much. I did
Hey,
nothing to it today.
It's very coiffed.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Coiffed.
Coiffed.
Yes, like you didn't just roll out of bed. You did something to it. It's nice and it's zhuzhed.
You use very strange words, you know that.
Thank you.
Yep. And I will. I'm gonna go out into town for a minute and just go find like a nice coffee shop.
Yeah, no problem. You set off down the street, having been set up here in Carnaby Street for a while now. You know some good local little bistros down the way you can head to. Edward heads out. Eliza and Bree, you continue your gossiping and looking through the tabloids. And after, say, 10 minutes, you hear a car pull up outside. you see the door to your office swing open, and you see your acquaintance Alan come in with two young ladies, one kind of being covered up still slightly. They enter the office and are presented in front of you.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
It's been a while. It's been a very long time. And in fact, I've got friends, and I've got friends I want you to meet. Look, I'll make this short. And I kind of look over, and I'm sort of just kind of putting Ruby in front, or not front, but just kind of stepping to the side to allow Ruby to introduce herself.
I turn to Dr. Allen. Well, I'm glad that you have some friends, that you consider us friends. This is a very awkward introduction.
Oh.
Yes, where are your manners?
Okay. Allow me to restart. Eliza, Edward. I'd like you to meet Ruby Stilwell and her sister Scarlett. This is actually a very interesting moment, and I pull out the card in my hand, the tile that I had before. I think we have something here. I think we may have some answers. And I just awkwardly take a step back as the doctor takes a seat.
Does anyone have any shoes I can use?
Oh, you poor thing. Do you have no shoes?
I'm dressed in like hospital garb.
Well, good heavens, Dot, we should give her a makeover.
Absolutely.
Or at least give her something suitable to wear.
Excuse me. What kind of makeover are you speaking of? We are respectable young ladies here. We don't need anything.
No, of course.
Okay.
Ruby, but
Ruby,
she's very pretty.
I know she's very pretty.
She has a lot of things.
She does have a lot of things. She's. Sorry, pardon me. Lord Master, do I recognize her yet?
Roll me a percentile and just tell me what you get.
35.
35. It takes you a minute into your conversation before you literally kind of look her in the eyes and go, oh, that's who that is.
Excellent. So, Scarlett, I know she's very beautiful, and clearly she can afford quite a lot of... Oh, dear.
Is that a yes or no? I can't... You keep talking, and I just don't really...
Scarlett, it's Eliza. Oh, I've read your books. They are incredible.
Oh, thank you so much.
You could give my sister whatever makeover you wish.
Listen, I did not mean to be insulting in any way. I just thought.
I don't like my clothes.
Oh, I'm sure they're not anything to your liking. So we should absolutely get you something that you'd like. Is all I meant by that.
Scarlett, will you be okay to go with Eliza and get some new clothes and shoes?
Yeah.
I will stay here with Dr. Allen and figure out exactly where we're at.
Okay.
Yes, I just would like to ask before doing so, just the manner in which you walked in here, and Alan, what on earth has happened to your face? It just seems very, very urgent.
It's in my line of work. You're used to it, but it's fine. It's fine. The most important thing was we're here, and just give me a couple of minutes to kind of assess some things. And I'm looking at the card, but I'm not showing it to anybody. Just kind of doing that awkward, just with my hands still.
Well, why don't you get a drink, and then we can find you something to wear. Maybe let's catch up a little bit.
I think that would be good, honestly.
I'm assuming, being me, I would probably have a few outfit changes lying around in one of the rooms. Yes. Should the occasion be necessary.
Yeah.
So I'm just
within the office there are you do have there is a wardrobe in the back room of the office where sometimes there is, because obviously there's a large couch there that you guys can sleep on if you need to stay at the office overnight. So you do have a change of clothes handy, and Eliza, being Eliza, has several racked up in the wardrobe.
Well, I don't know that if red is, well, I'm guessing that red might be your favorite color, but maybe red on red might be a little too much. So why don't we try this, maybe this turquoise dress? No? Okay, so I start rummaging through. How about this one? This is a lovely, lovely canary yellow. No? Black? Everyone likes black. And I'm sure it looks lovely on you, and as I hand it over to her.
Just all uncomfortably just wrapping myself into it. Okay, thank you.
And there's several pairs of shoes on the floor. You can go ahead and take your pick if you'd like.
I just start trying them on, and I feel like in real life, I have large feet. So I feel like maybe I would have very large feet, and maybe I wouldn't fit into them very well.
You peruse the collection of shoes in the back room, and after a minute or so of trying on the different heels, wedges, flats, you find that the pair that fit and seem most comfortable are a pair of Edward's normal kind of business shoe that were left there.
Have I returned from the coffee shop yet, or am I still on my way back?
Yes, you have walked in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I suppose this will have to do for now. Would you like anything to drink?
Yeah.
You can eat it inside. I'll bring her back into the room where everyone else is in and kind of rummage through what we have and place it on the table.
Yeah. So you've got an option of several different alcoholic beverages. There is a teapot if you would like a cup of tea or coffee. Obviously, the coffee quality isn't the best that you have in stock, hence why Edward left, who has returned now to see Eliza walking out the back room with Scarlett and Dr. Allen talking with Rubi in the front.
Dr. Sherwin, good to see you.
Nice to see you again, Edward. What did you bring us?
Well, I wasn't aware that we were going to be having guests here today, so I'm afraid I only brought coffee for Eliza and Dot, but you may have mine if you'd like.
No, you can have it.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. And I take stand up a little bit, just kind of look at our friend, and I give him a hug.
I come back.
Okay, so. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, who is this?
Edward, this is Rubi. Rubi Stilwell. Rubi, this is a very good friend of mine. Well, for such a small time, but Edward, his name. And I take a step back.
Pleasure to meet your acquaintance. And there was one more you mentioned. I saw her, but didn't really get to make an introduction. Her name was Dot. Am I correct?
Oh, yes. And Dot will walk back in from the secondary room. Like,
Oh.
Hi, I'm Dot. And walk forward, extend a hand. It's nice to meet you.
Likewise. Shake your head.
Oh, you're back, Edward.
Yes. Did you know we were having company today?
What? No, but...
I'm sorry. I would have brought more.
Oh, no, you're fine. Actually, if either of you would like my coffee, you can definitely have it.
It's most important. I think actually I might take that coffee from you. The reason why I'm saying this is because it's probably good that I might lose my license after what I've just done. So please excuse my apprehension, but I've taken a patient from my hospital. And this has everything to do with what we have seen in that house. Look, I can explain it, but it's not even part of me to say it. I'm going to step back and let her see when she comes into the room. Just please take a seat. And I
Okay. So, Dr. Allen takes a seat. Scarlett, Edith enter the room. Everyone is now in the main office space of Carnaby Street case files, and you can kind of all now get a sense of having all experienced strange interactions with the mythos and the world beyond the world that we see, and have all, as you've all had an experience in which your sanity has been tested. Looking at Scarlett and her mannerisms now, after being with her for a few minutes, you do notice that you see a lot of similarities in the way you've been affected, but these seem to be increased tenfold in Scarlett, and almost you can see the way in which sanity causes a person to change in their outlook on life, their body language, and you can see that Scarlett is affected and seems to be in a constant state of effect by the mythos, and you realise that you may have someone here who has a constant link within your midst.
So, Dr. Allen, you brought it here. What can you do for my sister?
I'm hoping we can provide answers. If we do not provide answers, look, if we cannot bring her physical manifestations that she keeps speaking of, I will have no other option but to treat her exactly like the other patients. I
will not stand for that. You understand me.
And
correct?
I know that's why I would bring you here, to these people, to my friends. We've seen so much things in the last time I was with them. They have to know the answers. Their stories collaborated. There is some truth to this.
It is true. It is true. And I lean over so that only Ruby, but not Scarlett, can hear. We saw fish people. Do you think, Alan, that the things that we have encountered and the work that we've been doing, do you think that there's a way that we could really help Scarlett?
I think there is. I think, look, I can tell you the story. But after seeing those signs, after holding this tile, after hearing all of the mythos, I'm just telling this as if a living, just stories. But Scarlett has been living this nightmare for 3 years.
What is this weird mythos that you're using? She's seeing demons. She's seeing block energy. That's it. Scarlett, come here real quick. Scarlett, tell them what you've been seeing.
I see all sorts of things, and I look over at Alan and I'm like, they don't believe me.
No, they will. They will believe you.
Do you actually believe me?
I have to believe you. I may be the only one that does, but look, Ruby, you have that piece of paper I told you to bring here, the research that we've done, the favors I've asked you. Do you have it with you?
Yes.
Scarlett, please tell them your story, please. And I sit back down and I give her the same space as normally, where I back up just to ensure that she's able to tell.
I hold on to Scarlett's hand.
I look around the room for playing cards.
You do see on one of the desks to your left, there is a pack of playing cards there that was left out from the night before.
I just bolt for them. I get up, I grab them, I sit back down, sit at the table, and I start shuffling and just like putting down cards like solitaire. I'm just like, okay, so I I am a fortune teller, and I see things, and I had a crystal ball, and this crystal ball helped me channel my energy, and I'm just like very specifically like putting these down while I'm saying this, and maybe it allowed me to see things that I shouldn't have seen, and now I can't unsee those things, but my crystal ball broke and I don't have access to that anymore. So it's like they're there, and I know that they're there, and it's very frustrating because I can't get there, and now they're like shadows of things that are there that I know that are there, and sometimes I can feel it or I can smell it, but I don't have my crystal ball anymore. It broke. And I look over at Rubi.
How did your crystal ball break?
I'm
Clumsiness.
clumsy. Mm-hmm.
And then people said that I was making the whole thing up.
Well, I do
And so
love
they've
a
locked
good
me up for a very long time and keep trying to convince me that I am lying, but I am very much telling the truth. And it's very disappointing when you say things and people don't believe you.
It's not that we don't believe you, Scarlett.
It's that there's no
I saw the
proof.
things too. I was, okay, if we're going to tell all the story, yes, I was the one who smashed the crystal ball. The black ink stuff started swirling all over the place, and I blacked out. I have no idea what exactly happened. But I do know that the source of the evil was in that crystal ball, which is what led me to do a lot of research until I met Dr. Allen.
What is good? What is evil? Things just exist. There is no good and evil. There just are the way things interact with one another and how they react. And you see it as a black, inky thing, therefore it's evil. But it gave me a lot of good insight. And I helped a lot of people and I made a lot of money, but that's not here nor there. But my point is, I don't have access to that and nobody believes me. And now they want to do what with me? And I look over at Alan.
As I'm doing this, I'm making sure I'm awkwardly staring at Rubi as well as the Scarlett. If we do not provide some proof of evidence of your story, they're going to have me perform the lobotomy when I bring you back.
And I just glare at Rubi and like,
Well, this is why we pulled you out, because that is not going to happen. I am not going to stand for that. This is ridiculous. This is why
I would run into the forest and figure a way out before I go back there. You can't make me go back there. And I grab up and I just keep organizing the playing cards. I'm like,
Scarlett, please, I won't make you go back there. Please.
Well, for what it's worth, we have seen some strange things. Also in the forest, but also, in homes and elsewhere.
I mean, I saw the end of the world in a painting, so it's not too far.
That is true.
Alan,
they're not committed and I got committed. How come they get to run free and I've been locked up for 3 years?
Not my choice. Eliza, please keep going. She needs to hear this.
Right. Yes. We did see some cultists, I believe they call themselves, and summoning things. And oh, Alan, you started shouting last time that we went into that house for no reason at all. So there have been strange things, not quite as strange as what you are describing. At least I personally wasn't affected by it, but we have seen some strange things.
And how can you prove that? How can you prove that you weren't hallucinating or on some kind of drug or something?
Well, in Edward's case, we can't really.
Nobody can prove what's wrong with Edward. It's all right.
Lord Keeper, the question.
Yeah.
During our second case, when we were going up against that creature in the woods, Dot took a photo.
Yes.
When she started developing it, did that reflect that creature?
The photo you developed, it didn't fully develop. You definitely got the woods in which you encountered the creature, but where the creature had manifested itself, it's as if the photo's been overexposed. You do have a very strong shadowing silhouette of the creature, but the detail of itself isn't there at all.
Dot would walk over to her desk or the shared desk with Edward, rummage through some of the items, grab that photo specifically that she has in her case, and take it over to Scarlett and set it in front of her and say, "Would you believe me if I said something was here?" And kind of indicating the area is overexposed.
I look at Alan. I'm like, I don't know. Would you believe it?
Can I show you something? And I pull out the tile that I was passing around to everybody with the dark sigils on it. For those that have not seen this, avert your eyes. Rubi, it's up to you. And I show her the card that shows the symbol of the tile that showed the symbol that we had found into the basement of the house we had that was driving people insane. And I stand it up and I say, if there's any proof of what you've spoken to, just the mentions of the words and stories you have told me can cause insanity. I have gotten the same feeling by looking at these cards. Therefore, I know that there is an existence of what you've spoken about. But we need something physical. I need something I can show them. And that's why I have you here. And I just slide the tile towards Scarlett.
I get up and I look at everybody, and I've got my playing cards and I'm kind of just flittering with them. And I start slowly walking over to the door. I'm like, look, I am out. I don't want to get worse. I don't want to go back. And I don't need to be introduced to more weird things. I want to thank you for letting me out. And I'm just going to go.
Scarlett, don't touch that door.
And I just start going for the door.
Okay.
Lore Master, would I recognize the symbol that was on the tile?
Roll me a Cthulhu Mythos check, please. And for those wondering, this is what he has been holding up.
I'm sorry, I'm still new at this character sheet. Where is that?
That is on left-hand
found
corner.
it. Found it. Yeah, that was a 3.
It was a what?
A 3.
A 3. You have to roll under.
Oh, okay. Then I rolled well under.
Yes. So that's a success. So, looking at the tile, nothing bad happens. You don't go crazy. You look at it. You see the image. You see the markings around it, and you do notice the symbol. You do recognize it. You don't recognize any meaning behind it, but it is something you have seen dotted around in certain occult books that you've been researching through in an attempt to find out what Scarlett's affliction and what the entity was that affected her, in trying to find some sort of meaning behind it and an image or context. You have seen that symbol kind of handwritten and scrawled in some of these books. Whenever there's been talk of evil, of protection, of danger, you've always kind of seen that symbol quickly kind of sketched onto the page.
Interesting. Well, I was going to ask you about if you guys knew what this symbol means, but Scarlett clearly just walked out, and I have to go find my sister. Walked out.
Yeah, well, Scarlett made her way to the door. She hadn't fully walked out yet.
Oh, I thought she did.
No, she was heading there. She was at the door, about to grab the handle before you told her not to and looked at the symbol.
Oh, good. Then I scoop her up from her back and like bring her back to the group.
Yeah. So what I will say is, as you go and grab Scarlett, you've more than likely got your hand on the door handle at this point, ready to just fling the door open and head out. As Rubi grabs you and kind of pulls you back to bring you back in and continue this conversation, you do still have a grip of the handle and you do pull the door open as she pulls you back. At which point you literally see a male on the other side of the door literally go as he's about to knock on the door to the office, and he stumbles forward 2 steps and he's literally now stood in the entryway of the office and he's looking around very confused as to why. Well, he's like hold on, there was a door. What sorry. And he kind of adjusts himself and he goes, I do apologise, am I interrupting?
Not at all. Who are you exactly?
He's like, I'm sorry. My name is Samuel Haversmith. I was told to come here.
Nice to meet you, Samuel. And I kind of go over and shake his hand. Yeah, and I look over at the group, just kind of look. Should I let him in? Should we?
You might as well. I mean, we just have visitors popping in all day today, so why not?
Please. And I close the door, and this time I lock.
Oh, he kind of watched you do it. He goes, okay. Didn't realise it was this sort of establishment.
Your reasons for being here, sir?
I was asked. Well, Detective Watson recommended you to me due to certain circumstances that have availed themselves to myself and my fellows.
Detective Watson. Interesting. Please, just a few minutes, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I kind of grab him by the hand and open the door and just put him outside a little bit. Then I kind of close the door just to close it. Then I just look at him and just 2 minutes.
He's okay.
2 minutes. Okay, he is going to freak out if we don't sit there and get this together. If we talk about any of these tiles and I show him and I'm kind of like, at this point, I'm trying to see if I can rummage around the room.
Yes, no talk of tiles, no talk of inky things, and no talk of fish people. Is that clear? Oh no. Yes, I will explain that one later.
Okay, are we good? Set.
Totally normal. Yeah, we're
totally
good.
normal.
Yeah.
I sit with the cards and I'm just like.
I am literally looking at everyone being like, you guys act like this all the time.
Yes.
I mean, all things considered, this is a pretty normal day for us.
You're acting quite suspicious, though.
Suspicious? I don't know what you mean.
We'll talk about that later.
And I open the door. I look at the gentleman outside. Please come back in.
Oh, okay. Thank you. You do notice while he was stood waiting, he was kind of picking like a paint chip off the door frame that was kind of loose. And he does it, and it like a good chunk of paint falls. He's like, oh, sorry. Anyway, and
Make sure not to eat it.
He's like, no, thank you.
Jared, you sure you don't want to eat it?
No.
Oh, Alan.
No.
You're a doctor. Why would you recommend that?
So Samuel,
Honestly.
Yes, Samuel Haversmith.
yes, good to meet you, sir. So Detective Watson sent you our way, yes?
Yes.
What seems to be the issue?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the best way to describe. I am a colleague of Lord Carnarvon, the late, should I say, Lord Carnarvon. I'm sure you all know who he is. I mean, I don't know how you could not.
Do we know who he is?
For the players, Lord Carnarvon was the one of the gentlemen who found, he funded and assisted in the excavation of King Tut's tomb.
Oh, okay.
Who you all know from the tabloids died at the beginning of the month under mysterious circumstances at the Valley of the Kings near Luxor in Egypt.
Ooh.
And the tabloids at the time, it was spread everywhere. Curse of King Tut's tomb, mysterious death, people dying, blah blah blah. So that's who Lord Carnarvon is. He was one of the funders and explorers who assisted in the excavation of King Tut's tomb, which happened late November 1922, but it was in the beginning of 1923 when the actual tomb itself, they managed to break into the burial chamber and gain access to the tomb. And he died 5 days later. So yes, back in. Yes, I am a fellow of the late Lord Carnarvon, and some circumstances have arisen post death, and I've spoken to the police about these issues. Things have escalated, and I've been directed directly to you due to the circumstances.
Well, what kind of things are we talking about here?
And he kind of shuffles in his spot. He's like, "Is it possible I could possibly take a seat and have a glass of water?"
Yes, of course. I'm so sorry. Where are my manners? Go ahead and have a seat, and we'll bring you some water.
He kind of looks around at the desks and the
You might
couch
want to
with a
shove
blanket
some
and pull out.
papers.
And everyone is like, he pulls one of the desk chairs out and moves it into kind of a central position into the room and sits down. He's like kind of rearranging himself while he sits there, seeming very uncomfortable.
Dot would have left shortly and brought back a glass of water for him.
Yeah, he kind of accepts. He's like, "Oh, thank you," and he takes a large gulp and says, "I'm a close acquaintance and a member of the research team of Lord Carnarvon's. I was part of the team back here in England, dealing with the cataloguing and researching of items found during the expedition in Egypt. Obviously, as you're all aware, Lord Carnarvon and the team out there have managed to find the tomb of the lost King Tut, Tutankhamun. As part of the English team back home, I've been in contact with Lord Carnarvon through a series of correspondence in which he would detail items found and what items were going to be sent back here to England or kept in Egypt for research there. Prior to the death of the late Lord Carnarvon, I received several disturbing correspondence. He spoke of the days in which they've managed to enter the burial tomb of King Tut, and items found within the tomb of an abnormal nature. Having previously experienced these tombs, other tombs of the Egyptian pharaohs, we have a general idea of what sort of things would be placed within these areas. But in this instance, some strange items were discovered. Some sculptures, some carvings, some details on the walls that were of a disturbing and deformed nature. Are you okay, madam? You seem very excited about this information.
I look at Alan. I'm like looking at Alan and Ruby. I'm like,
Anyway, what was I saying? Losing his chain of thought. Yes.
Going towards the door.
He in his correspondence he detailed some strange sculptures that were of a deformed and hideous nature, carvings of humanoid creatures but with strange abnormalities, and these were to be sent back here to England for us to research in detail, feeling that we were better equipped than the team in Egypt. Those were the first set of correspondence that gave me some concern. But following this, he sent me a correspondence with his detailing his intent to actually return to England himself. He was suffering a sickness, poor health. He mentioned of having some strange dreams and visions following the opening of the tomb, and felt his recovery would be best spent here back in England, where we could research these items together and pinpoint where they come from and what the nature of these are. As you're aware, he is dead.
Well, that doesn't help us any good, does it?
No, but I did receive one correspondence from him prior to my knowledge of his death. That letter had no words written, just scribbles, just lines scratched across the page. Which
Do you have that still?
yes, I have brought all the correspondence with me for you to look through. But the reason I'm here isn't just because of these correspondence. Lord Carnarvon's body and his personal effects were returned to England for burial. Along with this, it had been arranged for these artefacts to be brought back as well for us to continue the research and look over.
we'll take the job.
Scarlett, we don't work here.
Oh,
Okay.
Don't
Anyway.
believe he's offered us the job yet.
Anyway, Lord Carnarvon's body arrived 2 days ago at the docks of London. Our team went down there to meet him and pay our respects and collect the items. When we arrived, his body was in a standardised casket, and there were several crates containing artefacts from the tomb. Two of the large crates were smashed and items missing. We believe someone knew of the arrival and stole what was inside. We contacted the police for them to assist and investigate and find these items. But what was discovered was in an alleyway, maybe two streets away from the docks, a body was found. I do believe this hasn't been announced in the local news or anything and kept quiet due to the nature of what was found. The body itself was a male, early 20s. That's as close to a description as I can give you. He was mangled, is the best word I could describe.
Mangled?
Twisted, contorted in some form of terror.
It seems you have a dead body and a bunch of boxes. It seems Scotland Yard wouldn't have brought you here. Do you have pictures? Something along the lines of photography?
I don't have pictures. I can contact the police and we can get the post-mortem, but the body was twisted, quite literally. His upper torso was facing backwards. His jaw was dislocated and stretched to its limits. The body appeared to be fresh, but his eyes had rotted away.
Why are you guys okay with this? Why aren't you freaking out right now? What's wrong with you people?
I can show you I'm not okay with this at all.
I crawl up to Scarlett and kind of hold on to her.
And Samuel goes, I'm quite freaked out. That's why I'm here.
Oh.
Along with the body was a small wooden transport crate, open, nothing inside.
Well then.
Now, at the docks, you said there were a couple of crates smashed and items missing. Do you know what specific items you were missing?
No. The items that we do still have are some of the more generic items we would have found or expected to find within a burial tomb. I believe the crate that were broken contained these strange items that Lord Carnarvon had contacted me in regards to. Additionally, his journal is missing as well of his expedition.
And out of curiosity, did you guys open up the casket to make sure his body was actually in it?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know if he kept any correspondence with anyone in town that they would know that he was arriving, or that they knew what research he was doing?
The correspondent, as head of the English team on this expedition, all the correspondence in regards to what has been found always went through me. So I'm the main person who knows about the research. In regards to the strange items he mentioned in his last few correspondence, I kept that too. I hadn't told anyone within my research team through fear of, you know what the press are like with reputation and whatnot. In regards to his arrival back here in England, obviously his family and estate were made aware that his body would be returning, so it could be laid to rest.
Wondering if he had any rivals in his work that you know of.
Not that I'm aware of. His main role was as a financer of the expedition, but once the tomb was found, he was out there. He was on site assisting and really getting stuck in, as it were.
I mean, it just sounds like we have a mangled body. What would make you think that we would provide anything beyond?
Did you hear how he said he was totally twisted?
The eyes rotted.
I've seen many things like that, and
Where?
My patient's telling me things.
Oh my goodness! If they tell you things, it's another thing to see it.
Then I am willing to.
Sorry,
do it.
Scarlett. I didn't mean that as an insult.
I didn't hear what you said. I was thinking of the eyes and the...
Oh.
Working at the library and museum, would I know of anybody else who would have possibly been part of this research team?
Roll me a library use check.
Could I assist with that as well? I like that question. I would like to see if I saw them in my library.
Yes, you can.
That's a success.
Success. Okay.
Success as well.
Success as well. Okay. Additionally, Rubi, roll me a history check.
So much fun trying to find things that you're still new at. Oh, there we go. Got it. Also a success.
Success. Okay. Rubi, as you spent this bit of time here in the office now, and getting more acquainted with these people, you do recognise Edward. You have seen him in the halls and in the aisles at the library.
Oh.
You hadn't originally recognised him, as he's usually just a passing kind of mist, as it were, in his movements. But now you're taking a moment. Yeah, you do recognise him as someone that frequents the library in which you work at.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I think I recognize you, Edward. Edward, is it?
Yes.
Mr. Frey. My apologies. I remember checking out your name at some point. You check out quite a bit of books on the occult. Am I correct?
Yes, I spend quite a bit of time down there, so it's probable you've seen me around.
Yes. Do you recall seeing anything that they're talking about?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you recall seeing any of these researchers that Samuel here was talking about?
Do I recall seeing anybody else?
What you do recall is the name Francis Goodwin as someone within the museum that you work at who was previously just a standard museum worker and researcher who left to join an expedition team. That's the wording that was passed around at the museum.
Did they check out any books, perhaps, that would have been different than any other person would be checking out? Anything that caught my eye?
No. As during the past couple of years, your main focus, even though you were working at the library and doing the standard clerical work, your focus has always been on anyone checking out works of occult.
Okay.
So in regards to history or ancient Egyptian history or anything like that, it wouldn't be something you would normally have noticed over the other things.
Really noticed.
So Samuel sat there kind of explaining all this stuff, and you can see he's not comfortable with what he's saying. And he says, we spoke to the police about these things, and Detective Watson recommended this company, or I don't really understand what you people are exactly, no offence. He said you had more experience in this than they did.
Well, that is true. I did have one question. Do you know that body that you spoke of, the mangled, twisted one? Do you know where it is being held now?
Yes, it is held. The police have it in their mortuary at Scotland Yard. They have some of their experts doing a post-mortem and trying to identify who it is.
Perhaps we could take a look there.
I think it would be a good idea.
I mean, I definitely want to assist. I'm not certain I feel very comfortable seeing that, personally.
Well, you could come with me. I'd like to go to the library and see if I can find any more information on Francis Goodwin.
Oh, definitely. I'd love to help with that.
He used to work in the area, and he joined the expedition team. Could be a dead end, or he could know something. I don't know.
Well, Eliza, Edward, Alan, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking those two places would be a good place to start.
Well, Mr. Habersmith, if you do want our services, I think we're prepared to help you. We'll try our best to try to find answers.
That would be fantastic, and hopefully find the items that have been taken would be, a great benefit to society and the world if we can uncover some more information on these ancient times that we have been exploring.
Oh, absolutely. Do you mind if I now motion towards the items that he's brought for us to review? May I take those and start looking through them?
He hands you a folder, and inside it is a couple of the correspondence from Lord Carnarvon. There is a telegram from Luxor, a very brief one stating that Lord Carnarvon had died in his sleep, unknown causes, and there is a little brief letter from Detective Watson explaining what they currently have on file in regards to this case, and it's basically signed off. You guys know what to do. Carry on. And that letter itself from Detective Watson details that they have the body, in which they are currently doing a post-mortem. They have sealed off the alleyway in which it was found. They said they have done a cursory search, but if you guys do want to attend and look a bit more thoroughly with fresh eyes, he's happy to facilitate that. And the services of the police are at your disposal if you need additional support. As usual.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Samuel, for your time. Let us talk amongst ourselves. Additional information as far as if we were to accept this, we will let Detective Watson know. But thank you for the information.
No problem. And he leaves a business card with some contact information as well if you need to speak to him more about anything. And he bids you all a day and scurries off out of unlocks the door from the inside and scurries off out of the office.
Oh.
Okay, guys.
Should
we go see a body?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness, Alan, you have to say it like that.
I'd rather
Hey,
go
Ruby.
with a roster of names.
Ruby, you should go with Edward to the library.
Oh, I mean, I could. I did take the day off today to be with you, but if...
No, it's okay. You should go with Edward.
Okay.
I'll go with Alan.
Scarlett, we don't work here. I'm not quite sure that they would want us along on their work assignments.
Alan?
Yes?
Maybe I can help?
I think you can. I think this is, I think if we see this... Hold on. And I kind of whisper over to Ruby. I've never been around Scarlett without you. I don't think this is a good time. It's completely up to you.
Well, I think it's a bad idea. Maybe perhaps you should go by yourself so you can see exactly the level of sanity that she has.
Yes, I shall. Scarlett.
And then you can tell me whether you think she should have a lobotomy.
Let's do this. I'll give a call to Scotland Yard. I'll arrange.
Right, perhaps, yes, if you two would like to go to the library, and then we will go to Scotland Yard, and then perhaps all of us will reconvene in the alleyway to all investigate together.
All right, so sounds like a plan to me.
Good.
Splendid.
Let's do this. All right.
Scarlett, be on your best behavior, please.
Okay, so who's going where? We have Eliza, Alan, and Scarlett going to Scotland Yard. Ruby, Edward, and Dot. Where are you going?
I'm going to the mortuary.
I would like to not see the body, so I will tag along with the library group.
Okay, no problem. So, you guys get yourselves together, get your equipment that you tend to carry in these little research phases, and make your way off, saying your goodbyes to each other. The Scotland Yard is a bit further away than the library, so while you guys are travelling off to Scotland Yard to look at the post-mortem information and view the body, we'll deal with the library first. So Edward, Ruby and Dot, you make your way down to the Central Library in London to find out if you can gain some more information on the possible leader, Francis Goodwin, someone who used to work in the research department of the museum with Edward, who it is known was made part of the team underneath Samuel Haversmith. So making your way there doesn't take you too long to arrive. you show up at the library museum complex and ask around with some of the researchers that you know, Edward. Within your position as a curator, you kind of have more access to higher ranking staff than Rubi would within the library area. Asking around, you speak to one of the lead researchers at the museum, a gentleman named Nathan Bleecker, who explains that he hasn't seen Francis for a couple of weeks now. Since being part of this team, they've been kind of coming and going quite a bit, collecting tools and research notes that they were taking away to assist in their duties as within the English team of this expedition. They do give you an address in which Francis lives and says you could probably, head to their apartment and maybe speak to them there. They should be able to help if possible. But apart from that, you don't really gain too much knowledge and information from your endeavours here at the library in regards to Francis Goodwin, apart from gaining an address you could head to.
I will thank Nathan for the information and bring the address to Dot and Ruby. Well, didn't find out too much, but I do have an address for Francis. Do I know about how far this address is from where we're at?
From where you are at the Central Library, the addresses are good. It would take you maybe an hour to head to it. It's on the outskirts of London, so it's a good hour walk if you were to do that. If you were to get a cab or anything, it would probably half the time in getting there.
Well, it's a bit of a ways away, but what do you think? Should we go and knock on the door and see if we can find anything, or should we wait for the others?
Around what time of day is it?
Time, it is, I would say it is about 3:30 in the afternoon.
I said it's about an hour's walk. Is that right, Edward?
About. If we get a cab, we can probably get there in about half the time.
Ooh, well, that would be nice.
Well, is there any other business that we need to have done here before we go off to another address? Should we be researching anything? I'm quite new at your line of work here, so if there's any assistance I can provide with the library, I feel more useful here for the moment.
I mean, we could always look into any texts on King Tut's tomb, see if we can find any items that stand out in those books, perhaps.
Ooh, yeah.
But I don't know exactly what Francis has checked out from here. I don't know what's left here at the moment. It might be slim pickings. But we can take a quick glance around if you'd like.
Lore Master, do I have access to perhaps maybe some of the books that Francis would have checked out, or at least a catalog of seeing under his name what books have been checked out?
Yeah, looking around, heading to the clerk's desk, you can definitely peruse the ledgers and look at what books were checked out. If you roll me a library use check.
Yeah, I'm under, so success.
Success, yeah, no problem. So taking a couple of minutes just to flick through the pages and scan for Francis's name. You do notice there have been a couple different books checked out. Some have been checked out and not returned. Some have been checked out and have been returned. Looking at the ones that have been returned, there are 3 books on ancient Egyptian civilization, as it were. That one is a generalized history detailing the rise and fall of ancient Egyptian kingdoms and pharaohs. One is a book on the myths of ancient Egypt, and the other one is more of a topographical book to do with the layout of Egypt and the way in which the land is formed and settled and Obviously, it's a large desert area, so it deals with how the lands have shifted and changed over time.
Cool. So I relay the titles back to both Dot and Edward. So it's a lot of civilization stuff, but the ones that strike me as interesting is the mythological one and the topographical book that might be of interest to us, particularly with the myth book, with the person being all, I don't know how you describe it again, but the body that was all mangled might have something to do with that book. Might want to try that first.
Sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd lead them to where that book would be located.
Yeah, so having spent a lot of time in this library now and kind of using it as a second home, you know exactly what aisle you need to go down, you know what row, what shelf and everything, just from the very quick look in the reference notes. And you head down there, and straight away you're like, there's that one, there's that one, there's that one. And you grab all three books, pull them out, and you have them there ready to look through and see if there's anything you can fathom from those books that might be of assistance.
Just out of curiosity, are there books that kind of like are in a disarray? Because if so, I'd like to just push them back in and make sure things are orderly.
Yeah, in this actual aisle, with it being more of an ancient history aisle that isn't frequented as often, you do notice that a few books have been put in upside down. Some have just kind of been popped on top of others sideways. It's quite dusty around here as well. So
yeah, that I wipe off the dust. Don't mind that. It's just nobody doesn't really come around here very often. But here they are.
Yeah, so you've got the option now. You can either check these books out and head off to meet the rest of the group, or you can spend a little bit of time here in the library while you're there and you've got it, and have a chance to peruse the books and see if you can pull anything from it while you're here.
I say we sit down for a few moments, give the others a chance to check out the body, and then meet up with them later and go to the address together if we decide we need to go check that out.
Sounds good.
And 3 books, 3 of us. Let's each take a book, yeah?
Ooh, efficient. I like it.
Yeah. So Rubi passes out the books to each of you, and you guys take a little bit of time now to sit down and read through. While you're doing that, we'll move over to Scotland Yard, where Alan, Edith, Eliza, and Scarlett have arrived. You've spoken to Detective Watson. You've been lucky enough to catch him at his desk rather than out and about as he usually would be. He explains to you that, you know, this is beyond me as usual. You guys deal with this. It's strange. It's creepy. That's your forte. That's where you guys come in. That's the deal we've got. Go for it. And he grabs one of his officers and says, "Take them down to the mortuary. They want to look at the twisted one," as he nicknames it. And the officer goes, "Oh, okay," kind of a little bit taken aback by the job he's been given. He takes you down. You head to the mortuary. And you see the mortuary assistant there, who is the one who would have done the post-mortem on the body, and they're just kind of sat at a desk making some notes, and there are a couple of hospital kind of gurneys, I think that's the word, gurneys, lined up next to him with what you can clearly see are bodies on with sheets over. There's 3 occupied ones there, one of which, just straight away looking, you notice it isn't the standard silhouette of someone laying on their back. It is quite raised in the middle, and the feet are facing the wrong way.
Nice to meet you, sir. Please, if you don't mind, the name Alan, Dr. Alan Sherwin, and I offer my hand to shake his hand. Nice to meet you, David. Look, we're going to take over the situation. I'm going to inspect the body, as I've already discussed with Scotland Yard before I came. Your services are actually not needed right now. If you don't mind, could you give us the room?
Thank you.
Takes a moment to look at the 3 of you. waves at Scarlett, who's efficiently waving back, and he kind of looks past you to the officer stood at the door, who just gives him a subtle nod, and he goes, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I am due a break now anyway. Yeah, not a problem. I'll come back in half an hour or so, I guess." And he gets up, grabs his notes that he's still working on, and leaves the room, shutting the door behind him.
Well, we ready?
No. But yeah.
Have you?
Right.
Are you two okay to see this body? I offer, and I just bring up some like liniment oils to pull it under on her nose if we'd like.
Oh yes, thank you. And I just without putting my hands out, I just lean my face towards him just to lift my nose up and just expect him to do it for me. Thank you.
And then I copy it and like.
Oh, that's much better.
And I do the same thing to Scarlett. Okay, ready?
Yes. Oh, that's making my eyes tear up a bit.
Whatever we see, take as many notes as you possibly can. I open the door to expose the 3 gurneys, or the 3 medical tables. The one that's a little bit more odd shaped, I go over to the head of that bed. Just a quick glance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at everybody first before I reveal the body in pieces. Are you ready for this?
Yes, doctor.
And I quickly fold it back and just leave it for full display. And I take a step.
Okay, how far are you folding the sheet back? Are you exposing the entire body, or how far down do you want to go?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work from the top of the head, and I'm going to bring down the blanket to see if there's any gross, obvious injuries. If I do see any gross, obvious injuries that extend from the head, I reveal the chest. And if anything goes below that, but I keep the privacy of the patient just below the waist, and I lift the legs. If we need to examine anything further, I would ask that we would raise the blanket just for the respect of the patient.
Okay, and you're doing this to the one that has the raised...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so you pull the sheet down to this. Are you looking while you're doing it, or are you turning away while you do it?
I am... the one thing I want to do is, as I'm doing that, I'm going to look directly at the face, but I'm also looking to see Scarlett's reactions, mostly because for 3 years, I'm very invested in this. And this is the part where this is the only time I've ever been without Rubi there. So I'm just showing everything we can.
Yeah. Okay, so you pull the cover down to the, we'll say, above the nipple line.
Okay.
And looking at the body, looking at the corpse in front of you, you see what was described to you earlier, but being in close proximity to the body, you see a lot more than what was described earlier. You were told earlier that the jaw was dislocated and extended, and the eyes had rotten away. What you now see is a male, short, black hair, bushy eyebrows, clean shaven. Their mouth is fixed in an extended position. I would say a good 6 inches in depth, extended that wide as the jaw's dislocated. Looking closer at the eyes, which you were told had rotten away, where you'd expect to see maybe a sunken eyelid, where there are no eyelids. You see claw marks across the face, and you see a hole in the eye socket, fully open and bare. Looking, you can see that the flesh that would be behind the eye, has rotted to the point where you can start to see some of the bone at the back of the eye socket. And that's what you see of the head. In terms of skin tone, the flesh is pale to the point of being a very pale blue colour. And as the jaw has been dislocated and the mouth is heavily extended, you can see that the throat area is swollen, and you can see the very heavy, thick lines of blood vessels that have been really kind of put through some pressure along the surface. Looking at the chest above the nipple line, it's got a little bit of chest hair. Nothing of note, but there is you don't see anything in that area at the top of the chest to cause alarm.
It's like he was screaming till he was blue in the face. I am so sorry. That is very distasteful.
It was actually very funny.
Thank you. I just do that when I'm nervous.
Really, you should write
And
it
usually.
down.
I should write it down. And maybe it'll be in my next novel. I'm sorry. I do that at inappropriate times. I apologize, Alan.
It's okay, and I'm kind of going back and pulling my flask out and taking a swiff, and anybody?
Oh yes, please.
Do I notice anything, or am I? It's like, is there anything I've imagined before?
As you look at this, Scarlett, you don't see anything out of the ordinary. Really, it doesn't come across to you as a strange sight. Really,
nice.
with in the past couple of years and the visions you've had and the imagery that's been kind of broadcast across your mind, this isn't something shocking for you right now. What you see.
Cool.
Shocking. And I look at her reactions, and I'm just going to look at the body, and I'm just going to stare at it.
This is really taking a long time.
What do you mean?
What are you looking for, Alan?
I pull the blankets off of the bodies. There has to be answers. And I just start showing the bodies out of anger more than anything. Is there any gross injuries that we see from any of the three bodies?
The other bodies are just cadavers, just people who have died under different circumstances. Nothing of note visual. There is one that has a gunshot wound to the chest, and the other two, nothing of note. Are you removing the covers any further on this body specifically?
Yes, absolutely. After Scarlett asked me what are we looking for, I grab it because at the seriousness of this, I don't want her to go through this procedure, and I've brought her this far. And to me, I'm looking at for just distinct signs, and I just rip the blanket off out of frustration.
Okay. In doing so, I need Eliza to roll a sanity check.
All right. Here we go. Passed.
Pass. Okay.
45.
And Alan, I'm going to make the presumption that you pull the sheet off, but as you're doing so, you're looking at Scarlett and not the body. Is that correct?
There is a deep curiosity that I also have with this body, so I'm actually going to look at it first and then look at Scarlett.
Okay, so roll me a sanity check.
Sanity. Ooh, 12. Pass.
Okay. Very good. What a shame. So, looking at the rest of the body, it is as described, but the realization of seeing this is beyond something you would have been able to comprehend. This person's body is twisted. As you pull the sheets back, you literally see where his abdomen would be, it is pinched and completely like ringed out the wrong way, to the point where you see you kind of step back, look, you see a head, chest, the weird twist, and then buttocks, the back of the legs, the heels of this body.
That looks about right. I mean, if something were to grab it and, like claw its eyes out and then take its body and twist it, but what would they want with it?
And I look at
Are they
Eliza.
just angry, or are they hungry? What do they need? And I start looking at the body, trying to figure out, what do you need, monster, that did this?
Well,
You see.
yes.
And I'm just observing Scarlett as she's asking these questions of the torso.
Maybe there was mention that there was a smaller crate that was opened and empty that was found next to the body. Maybe that perhaps this body was the one that had looted, or was part of the looting of the crate or the shipment, and whatever he opened maybe has something to do with it.
What does it want? Usually when there's a spirit there or something, they want something. They want to communicate, or they have a need to do something. They want, and I'm now I'm like investigating thoroughly the body.
Yeah. So Scarlett, roll me a spot hidden check. And if Alan and Eliza want to look any further at this body, you can also roll.
I rolled a 33.
33. And yours.
So I don't think that makes it, does it?
Yes. Yes,
it does.
It is lower.
Oh yeah, low, yeah.
So you hold on, let me take off my screen. So you look at this body that, again, doesn't necessarily seem out of the ordinary to you with the things you've seen in your mind over these past few years. But looking at it and kind of, as you said, what's the meaning behind this? Why would this have happened? You're literally looking at this body and going, yeah, I mean, I can see what's happened here. They've just gone like that with it, and that's you're looking, and you can't see it physically, but you can sense the grip that something has had on this body and twisted it.
I go to its face, and it's like, okay, the jaw's been ripped open, the eyes, so maybe it was looking for something inside of it. So maybe it tried to steal its tongue or its throat or its brain or something, and I'm just kind of trying to figure out, did it suck its eyes out? Like, what did it want?
Yeah. Kind of looking around the face and that, you see that the tongue is in place. The eyes are missing, but looking at the way the flesh is rotted around the eye socket, you get a sense of, nah, it didn't take the eyes. That's just, it just is what it is.
Did it put something in the neck?
You look at the throat, and you do notice. Look, you kind of, in a very morbid, grotesque way, you do kind of like grab the head and like look into the mouth, and you notice that the esophagus is a lot wider than it should be. I mean, an esophagus is like that, but this is.
I just go in. I just reach in.
What do I make you roll for this? For investigating a throat. Roll.
Like ripping whatever is inside of it out. It's like I'm not even looking at this point. I'm just reaching in.
Okay.
Like there's got it. Like you're like something's in a drain. Like there's got to be something in here.
Roll me a sleight of hand.
16.
16. That is a pass. Okay. You put your hand into its mouth and you reach in and you continue in past the throat. into the body. And you get to about here on the chest. And you kind of rattle your hand around in there, just kind of mindlessly, what could it be? And you notice there's, not being medically trained doesn't assist, but you do notice that there is something missing here. There is more space than I surely should be able to have putting my hand in here. But then you kind of move your hand around, and then you get this little kind of like a little tink sound on the back of your nail, as if you've hit something hard.
So I've got my hand inside of this person, and I take my other hand, like, what goes here? Because it's not there.
And I kind of look over to the process that she's pointing to. One would say the trachea, but it seems that you've gone a lot further than that. I would think of the esophagus at this point. And I walk over to the corpse. I take my pen. And if this has been a body that's been autopsied, I'm going to open the chest cavity. And I'm going to see where her hand is in location to.
Yeah, I'm going like this and waiting for him.
Okay, so taking a moment to open up the stitch that is there, which doesn't go all the way down as you would expect.
No, just enough to show where the hand is.
Her hand is where the heart would be.
And I look over as I look over and cut over, and I look to Scarlett and say, "Can I offer you a wet nap?"
Yeah. Thank you. And I
don't know if that will do.
And I kind of give the wet nap over, and I look at the chest cavity, at the heart. Please, Scarlett, please, come here, please.
Yeah, that's what it wanted. It took it. It took that.
And is there? And I'm looking directly at Scarlett's eyes as I'm doing this. In your stories, your visions, anything, heart, anything.
Do I, Lore Master? As a traveling fortune teller.
Roll me. I'm intrigued on where this will go.
You find a deck of cards down there.
Magic! Found a coin.
I seem to have found.
Is this your?
Roll me a mythos check, a Cthulhu mythos check.
Ooh, 76.
76. That is a fail.
No. No.
No, you don't. Nothing comes to mind in regards to the heart. But whilst you're there with your hand where it is, you do move it to the side, like within the body. You move your hand to the side so you can see the area where the heart would be, and in doing so, you kind of push the lung over, and where you felt that little kind of tink on the back of your nail or something solid, as you're both kind of like hunched over looking inside this body, you both notice that a little bit of something just poking out from underneath the lung. Something solid.
I try to like move the lung out of the way. Can you get that? Would you mind getting that?
Sure. And I place my hand inside, and I'm actually wearing gloves at this point. Also, I'm just gonna throw that out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull the piece, or at least dig into it to see if I can remove or expose it.
Yeah. So you put your hand into where Scarlett is kind of indicating, and you pull out what feels to be a solid object, and you take it out and look in your hand, and it is a small piece of stone. Shape-wise, it has a carved flat side, and then it appears to be broken away on the others. And on it, you see a hieroglyph and an area that's been scratched out.
Well, I did leave my keys here. Would you? I give it to Scarlett to see if this has any recollection. Do you see, Eliza, Scarlett, please?
Would it be looking at it? Would I see anything that I would recognize?
Not straight off, no. It isn't something you would immediately be like, oh yeah, that's that. You can see it is a carved piece of stone that appears to have been broken away from something else, as there is a hieroglyph which you do recognise to be an Egyptian hieroglyph from what you've seen in the papers, the tabloids and that. But the symbol next to it has been carved away.
Let's take this with us, and perhaps we could maybe find out what it means.
Ruby knows everything.
Ruby would know, and you know what? You did tell her to go with Edward because I saw you nudging her, but I think that you and Edward would get along perfectly.
No.
Your
Ruby.
elbows tell me otherwise. But, just your arms, which I think you should absolutely wash and not touch your face.
I'm actually going to go wash my hands as well, and I'm actually going to take the stone and, I'm sorry, who has the stone? Just one more quick.
You do.
I still have. Who has it?
Oh,
I was just looking at it, but I didn't
Okay.
actually say that I grabbed it.
Then I wash it before we.
is gooey.
It's very gooey.
I watched too.
Shall we go?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely.
And I'm going to, as I walk out, I'm going to leave my pen exactly where the stone was, and I just kind of smile and just, they'll find it later, and I walk off.
Do you do that with all your patients?
I don't do that with all my patients, but if there's an opportunity here, this pen, it's a very good pen, and I'm thinking.
Well, then why would you leave it there?
Well, because
As a treasure?
I don't need it. I don't need it. And the person who's going to do this, that assistant is going to come back and he's going to see this. Look. And I pull out another pen out of my pocket.
Well, it seems like everybody does magic tricks around here except me.
I could teach you.
You.
Yeah.
I would love that. But let's absolutely get out of here.
And
This
we
is
head
starting to wear
towards-
off.
And we will head towards the alleyway, or not alleyway, the library.
Okay. So
Did we say the library or did we say the street?
Street.
Street.
Yeah.
Wherever
Let's go
they
street.
are.
Okay, so you three leave the mortuary underneath Scotland Yard and make your way to London Docks, where the alleyway is located. Whilst you guys make your way there, which is going to take you a little bit of time while you make your way across London, we'll go back to the library to our three researchers while they read up on their books. So can you all make me a library use check?
Success.
Success.
Also success.
Edward.
We can't hear you.
Sorry, that's better. Success.
Yeah, okay. So you guys spend the little bit of time you've had there looking through the books. Who's reading what? Who's got what book out of the three?
I took on the myths of ancient Egypt, and I think Dot, you said that you were looking over that with me as well.
Yes, I would like to.
Okay.
I will. I'll start with the Rise and the Fall, and then I'll also glance through the topography book if they're still working on the other one.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll do Edward first. Looking through the book on the rise and fall of Egyptian society and the kingdoms of the pharaohs and that, a lot of it is the standardized information we have in our history books in regards to ancient Egyptian culture and civilizations. Reading through it just gives you a lot of it is kind of reference material on the different pharaohs and the order in which they reigned. The only thing of note that you take from that is there is a section on lost kingdoms, unknown pharaohs, and what came before the pharaohs. And this sort of stuff talks about where information was destroyed. Some pharaohs had actually destroyed information in regards to the kings they were the successors of, whether that be due to power struggles or, in some senses, changes in religion within the Egyptian gods and that pantheon. So there's information there that kind of refers to that element of hidden history, and the couple paragraphs you read in regards to what came before the pharaohs is quite vague in this book. It just kind of says that there were kingdoms, there were tribes, there was culture, but beyond we don't really know what there was before this era of the pharaohs. And then looking at the book on topography and the land of Egypt, and when you read through this about the areas in which the pharaohs lived, so you've got Cairo, where the pyramids of Giza are, you've got Luxor, where the Valley of the Kings. It talks about how the lands have changed over time, how Egypt originally had a lot of vegetation and water, and now that's changed, and it is now more of a barren desert land, a lot of it. And reading through it, it tells you that this change has happened, and it's happened several times over. There's been a shift in the topography in Egypt and in kind of North Africa. And within it it does talk about specific places and cities, and it does say a lot of areas and areas of culture and habitation have been lost over time due to this shift in the land. And the one thing you note as well while reading this book, which you take exception to, which another person may just see as a flippant comment, the author of the book says you could go into the desert in Egypt, and you could probably get a shovel and just start digging down. You'd find a city anywhere. But you notice that as an odd flippant comment within the book.
And do I recognize this authors?
No, they're the books themselves aren't recent. They are quite old. So the authors of these two books, they're not someone you are familiar with their work. And looking at the dates on the books, you'd imagine that possibly these authors may not be around anymore.
Gotcha.
Now with Ruby and Dot and the books you're reading, the book on Egyptian myth and the cultural side, reading through that, the bulk of the information is on the pharaohs, the kings, the Egyptian pantheon of gods, and where their structure lies. Reading through that, there's nothing really in there that kind of takes exception to what's already known, or anything out of the ordinary, as it were, apart from one section that talks about how the pharaohs did at some points have a power struggle within the base religion that the Egyptian people followed and which gods they followed. And this did cause kind of religious upheaval within the land and caused rioting and wars. And there was a complete power shift and change within the pantheon and who was the hierarchy of the gods during during these different eras of pharaohs and kings. And you're flicking through the pages on this and reading, and you do notice in this book, you kind of open the book and you're looking through and you see this, and then you do notice, I will demonstrate on this book, you're kind of looking through and you open the page and you notice in the seam line just a little pencil line poking out, and you grab the book, and Rubi, you do something you thought you would never do with a book in this library. You completely rip it the wrong way. And you notice the pencil line wraps around this central fold of the page, and there is a little star drawn in this margin.
I'm so sorry. This poor book. But do you see this dot?
That's interesting. I wonder. And kind of like looking closer on it, in the margin that it's near, is there something specific written, or is this a particular section?
Yeah, this page is talks about the religious power struggle between the pantheon and who should be at the top and who should be worshipped over other gods.
Ooh, okay. So I know this may seem like really mundane, but I swear in like our past cases, small markings like this meant something. Especially in mythological books. I have no idea why it's always in mythological books. It has been in every single one. So
quite fascinating.
It is. Edward, are you finding anything?
Oh, just lots of vague information on lost civilizations, tribes. No one really knows what was here before. But I don't know. There was something about you could take a shovel and dig straight down and find a city. Basically anywhere in Egypt.
Interesting.
Something tells me maybe they found something more. Maybe it wasn't just items from Tut's tomb that were brought back.
Oh, okay.
I could be entirely wrong about that, but it just seems a bit odd.
Lord Master, as at the mention of other types of relics, I'd like to kind of thumb through and see if there's any mention to any relics that would be related to King Tut or anything.
You look through the books, and there is no mention of King Tut in any of these books.
Is it odd to you that there's no King Tut anywhere in here? I mean, there's a lot of Pharaoh speak, but nothing of King Tut specifically.
And didn't you mention these were the books that Francis had
Yes.
before, and that's what he was researching? That's really weird.
One more question. Can I physically check to see if there was any pages ripped out?
Yes, you can. You look through the book, you check the bottom of each page with where they're all numbered. You don't see any missing numbers, and looking beyond that at the spine of the book and the inside, you don't see any missing pages either.
I don't quite understand it. There's no correlation here.
Well, I guess our next best bet would just be to talk to somebody who was there.
No, I suppose you're right. You still have the address, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we get a taxi, or are we walking?
About how long have we been in the library now?
You've probably been there close to an hour.
I would imagine the others have probably finished up by now. We probably shouldn't just leave them hanging in the alleyway.
Yes. Right.
Swing by there and then head off.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, so you are you taking the books with you? Are you checking them out, or are you leaving them back on the shelves in the library before you leave?
I'll put the 2 that I had back.
I'm gonna check out the mythos one, or sorry, the mist one, just in case.
Okay. So you take that book with you, and you guys head to meet the rest of the group at the alleyway at the docks. It doesn't take you too long to get there, and by the time you reach the alleyway, it's roughly the same time the other half of the group reaches, and you kind of both converge at the docks at the same time, and you see each other just kind of across the way along the docks as you arrive.
Ooh. Well, that's good timing. Did you guys find anything?
Well, they certainly found things.
Oh.
And we found a very beautiful stone, and I pull out the stone, and would you like to take a look at it?
Sure. And she'll take it and observe.
I'm also going to keep
the stone and the hieroglyph.
Scarlett, how did you find things?
I helped.
Which she says out loud.
I helped Alan. I would make an excellent doctor.
Right, that you would, Dr. Allen. She would make an excellent doctor.
She's very hands-on.
That's for sure.
Hands-on.
Yes.
I'm sorry, are those my shoes?
Are they your shoes? I'm sorry. I couldn't find any other shoes, and nobody else would buy me shoes.
Oh, no, you keep them. They're yours. They just...
I don't actually like them.
I don't either.
Oh, okay.
They were on sale.
I'll give them back when I'm finished. I'm very sorry.
No, you're totally fine.
Take the stone.
All
Stone.
right.
May I? Looking at the stone, does it match anything we saw in the books at all?
Looking at it, beyond the fact it has an Egyptian hieroglyph on it, and that's the only thing you really recognise, it doesn't match anything you perused so far.
Does anybody read this? Ruby, can you read this hieroglyph?
Unfortunately, that's not in my expertise in my wheelhouse. But Lord Master, anything that I would have seen maybe somewhere?
You within the library, you would be able to find probably a book that has a somewhat translation of hieroglyphs within the language textbooks there. So you could get that book and kind of try and see if you can find an accurate translation of the glyph that's on the stone.
Well,
so basically, this creature that it warped this really weird, this person, they like squeezed it. I'm not sure why they squeezed it, but they went in and they put this thing way deep in. They took its heart and replaced the heart with this stone. It was really strange. I don't think you could handle it.
Excuse me,
it was gross.
It was missing his heart. It was the strangest thing, and also, I'm sorry, Scarlett, but Scarlett had her hand entirely down his mouth because its jaw was unhinged.
Well, how else is I going to go and look for what it wanted? It's just a creature, right? The creature wanted something, so it makes sense.
Oh, no, nothing wrong with that. I just found it very impressive.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Allen, you let Scarlett put her arm
I am a grown woman and a medical professional.
On the ledger of books that we saw that Francis had checked out, did it look like he checked out any books on rituals?
No.
Okay.
She did a very good job of explanting that stone. I didn't even find it. That sounds good.
Planted it.
She was very thorough.
Explanatory.
I will hand it to her. Sorry. Quite clever with those words, Eliza.
Here's the
But
problem,
perhaps-
everyone. The problem here is that there's this spirit or creature or whatever, and they did this to this person. They wanted its heart. I don't think that this is the last time this is going to happen, and creatures usually are hungry for something. Spirits are they have a need, an insatiable need. They cannot be satisfied unless maybe sometimes they have to collect a lot of one thing to be complete. So maybe there's a trail of other dead bodies we can follow.
Oh, no.
Or
Dead bodies. Oh.
maybe we could prevent more dead bodies.
Well, I should certainly hope that we could, but I just don't know how.
What did
But
you
it is-
find? Sorry, what else did you find? What did you find in the library?
Oh, well, we found 3 books that were checked out that were quite useful. Mr. Frey over here could probably explain the other, the first 2, but we checked out, and I hold up the book of the ancient Egyptian myths. We brought one of the books with us that has it, and I opened the page with the star, and this whole book. I can't believe I have to do this, and I flex it open so you guys can see what was going on inside the book.
Is it the same symbol that was on your what is it, a card? Was it a card? I'm sorry, what was it?
Tile.
A tile. Yeah, was it the same symbol that was on the tile?
You immediately recognize it as the same symbol.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Right, so there's that. I shut the book. And Mr. Fry, what else did you happen to find?
Yeah, so I looked into some information on the rise and fall of pharaohs as well as the topography of Egypt. Unfortunately, it was just a lot of vague information of what came before the pharaohs, what came before the kings, changes in religion. But one thing that stood out to me, though, was a mention of taking a shovel and digging anywhere in Egypt, and you could find a civilization. And there was also an extreme absence of King Tut's name. So something tells me they didn't go to King Tut's tomb. I think they brought things back from somewhere else.
If they brought something from something else,
We need to look at the scribbles.
You mean hieroglyphs?
Everything else made sense. The only thing that didn't make sense was the paper with the scribbles. Maybe there's something in there.
The folder.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I do
Brilliant idea.
apologize. Sorry. I also have an address for Francis Goodwin, one of the members of the research team. I think we should perhaps question him.
Did he have something to do with those books?
He checked out those 3 books but returned them, but there are other books he took out that he has yet to return, as well as some various tools to help in his research.
Well then.
Will it take long to get there? Because I need to use the restroom. Is it?
I think it's a little bit far away. Perhaps maybe we should split up or go back. Some of us go to the library and some of us go to the address. What would you guys think?
I think we should stick together if you'd like to before we leave here.
let's
I agree.
I'll
go
call
to
the cab.
library. Okay.
I'll call the cab.
I grab Ruby's hand and I run to the library.
Actually, I'm sorry. I also have to use the restroom. And she's just gonna follow them.
Yeah.
And on that
Or
note,
the docs, right?
we will have a quick break whilst we all use the facilities at the library.
To the library.
We'll have to go to the library.
So yes, We will continue shortly after a short intermission, everyone. Yeah, we'll see you soon.
Oh man,
Hello.
all the videos jumped.
Yeah, everyone's changed after the break. Welcome back. For anyone joining us now, we are partway through our case file with some strange encounters going on and some interesting medical procedures. Yes. So, where we left off, you guys were, you had all convened at the docks, about to look in the alleyway where the body was found. Are you guys going to continue? Are you going to go into the alley and do a bit of searching, or you were also contemplating either going back to the library or going to the address you've now received?
As we run back from the library, I think, yeah, we should probably check to see if there's more information here, because this is the alley, right? This is the one.
Definitely worth a look.
Wait. This is the place this man has been murdered in. Edward, you knew this?
I knew what now?
Edward,
Yes.
you knew that this is place. This. I kind of look at the alley. Is this it? Is this where the body was located?
Well, it should be. This was the one that was closed off.
Yeah.
Then
I don't know that it was right here.
I look
And
down.
We all kind of look down, and as I do that, I take the stone and I just kind of go, And I look at my stone in the card and see if there's any reactions to it at the same time.
You don't see any reaction.
So,
Alan, did you just put that thing that was in that man
Did you smell it?
and you just put it by your mouth?
Well, I need to find where this. It's. We're not able to see.
You're a doctor. You should know better. That's how diseases spread.
The diseases do spread like that, and I
that stone was inside somebody. May I?
yes.
It's not a lozenge.
Let's-
No, it's. And
Let's
I hand
get
it over
weird.
to Edward. I hand it over to Edward.
I swear, when we get the two of you together, weird things always happen.
Is it small enough to put in my mouth?
No.
No.
Why would you do that?
It is small enough to put in your mouth, yes.
It was inside somebody.
And then
Yeah.
they
Something
died.
happened to that person.
You don't want that to
You
happen.
don't know that. You don't know that
Put it in
nothing.
my mouth.
Dot just reflexively slaps him on the arm and walks away, going, "Oh my god."
I said, let him swallow it.
Can I just clarify? You're putting the stone with the glyph on in your mouth.
Yep.
Okay.
Just to see what happens.
Are you closing your mouth when you do this?
Oh no!
Yes. Okay.
Why, Edward? Why?
Why are you rolling?
You put the stone in your mouth, and your taste buds tingle. You feel a bit of kind of an irony taste. You also can feel the grit feeling of the stone in your mouth, and you kind of, with it being there, and obviously the mouth's connected to the sinuses and that, and you get a little whiff of that blood smell in the back of your throat, and you heave a little bit. Nothing happens.
All right, I'll pull it out.
I look at Eliza and I'm like, not him.
I just look at the both Alan and Edward, and I'm just like, I don't know what it is about the two of you together that absolutely makes you make terrible life decisions.
And as he does that, I go up
Absolutely
to
judging
him,
you.
and I put one finger over his lip like this, like. What does it make you feel, though?
Slight shame.
Good.
Or
Good.
evidently he has an oral fixation with things, and we should probably move on, because if we psychoanalyze him right now, we're just going to be stuck here.
I was
he would be
just
here
curious.
for
This was
weeks.
inside somebody. I just wanted to see if something happened. That's all.
So what happened? Did you see anything?
Yes.
Did you gain all this new knowledge?
No, but now my teeth feel really gritty.
As they should.
Gross.
Ew.
I have a lozenge, but we should probably get. The car that I had called over, is it here at any time? Do I hear sound of it at all? Or
Not yet. No.
Is it possible to look at tracks around here? Like, would there have been any sort of tire tracks, footprints, anything
you can look around the area. The alleyway itself has been taped off from the public, but looking down the alleyway, it is kind of locked off at the other end. It is a building. There is a building at the bottom, so it is just a dead end alleyway. But at the open end of it, it does have a road that cuts across, so you can look around there and the entryway for tracks and marks if you want.
Yep, I'm headed that way while they're eating hieroglyph stuff.
With you, Ruby.
One question I have, Eliza.
Yes.
Did you use the glasses to look at them when you were stood there?
I did. Tell
were
me
you
what
facing
happens.
down the alleyway when you were looking?
I certainly was looking around as I was harshly judging the two of them.
Okay. Now, for those that may not have seen the last episode, these glasses are a set of, as you can see, a small set of binoculars. But they are not normal. They have red lenses in them. And previously, you were able to see markings with them when you were underneath the manor house in the subterranean lair. As you're disgusted with Edward and what he is doing and looking through them, you do see a glow coming from the bottom of the alleyway.
Oh. Well, I hate to break up your little rock eating party here, but there is something glowing down there.
Is that the same direction we're headed?
It's down the alleyway towards the dead end where you would presume the body was found.
If you're quite done putting things in your mouth that shouldn't be there, I think we should head off.
It won't be the
In that
last
direction.
time, but let's go. Understand.
Oh, I know it isn't the last time.
it's just they don't understand us. Let's go, Edward. And I put my arm under Edward's arm, and I start to look towards the area. Eliza, please tell us if we're coming close, hot or cold.
That way.
So
as I march forward.
So heading down this short alleyway, using your binoculars to guide the way. To you, it seems like a matter of steps and you're at the end, but obviously you move them away and it's like, oh, actually, my depth of perception is terrible here. I'm wearing binoculars.
Oh, it's much closer than it appears.
Looking down the alleyway, you get to a point where you're near enough at the end. You see on the floor blood that appears to be drying somewhat with the humidity in the air, and you don't see anything else in this area apart from a bloody stain on the floor. But using your binoculars to look around, you see that the whole area through the binoculars has this slight red glow to it. And
is the blood glowing as well?
the blood isn't glowing, just the bottom end of this alleyway itself is emanating a bit of an aura. Now, do you investigate further with your binoculars?
I do.
So roll me a spot hidden.
Okay.
And you
I am
you
good
can
at
roll
these.
with a bonus die because you're using your binoculars.
Oh no, I don't need it. I'm good. I passed.
Okay, lovely. So kind of perusing around the area, you look at the wall to the right, and you see 4 streaks down the wall in red.
How close is this wall to me? Can I get closer to it?
Yeah, it's a side wall, but the streaks are kind of up just above your grasp on the wall.
Okay.
And then you look closer and you see another set of 4 streaks higher up towards the second floor of the building, and then a faint couple of dots on the edge going onto the roof.
There seem to be a set of 4 streaks running up this wall. Perhaps whatever did this, it beats me. If you have a clue, please let me. I don't know, but if I were to guess, I would think that whatever creature had twisted that poor man back there perhaps went that way.
Well, let's go.
Up the wall, or should we maybe go to the roof?
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
Is there any?
Unless you're a much better climber than I am, by all means, go ahead.
For the lore master, is there any claw marks that go up this wall distinctively, like where Eliza is paying attention to? Like,
physically looking at the wall, you don't see any. You don't see any scratch marks or anything physically looking at the wall.
Is there like a part we can pull down to a ladder? Like, can you describe us this alleyway? Like
the
at the
alleyway
roof sides?
It's 2 adjoining buildings. They appear to be warehouses here on the docks, and they join in the middle where the alleyway kind of cuts round and meets to a dead end. They are both 2-story buildings with a shallow sloped roof on the top. And that's basically the scope of the buildings. They appear to be the backside of 2 warehouses that have joined in the middle of the alleyway. Now,
well,
if,
I do
if
believe
you want to investigate around the building, you could walk around to the front and try and gain access that way, and make your way up to the roof.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, sounds like an idea.
Sounds like an amazing idea. And as I do that, I pull out my bag of guns.
Is that what you had in there the whole time?
Yes, I did have these bag of guns, mostly because last time we went into a building, we relied heavily on Dot's shotgun. And this time,
true.
I've come packing.
Ruby.
God,
Now you have
that's a sound. Ruby, what is happening and why do they have that many guns?
I don't quite know. I am very terrified of how many guns they have and how quickly they have access to them. And the simple fact that Dot over here also carries a gun.
A shotgun.
We all carry guns. Sometimes pistols.
It's safe. We stole them from the police department.
We didn't
What?
steal them. We procured them.
Do you even know how to use them?
Yes,
I
That
have no
doesn't
idea.
convince
We can
me
teach
at
you.
all.
I have shot in firearms plenty of times. Enough to carry one around, definitely.
Just don't point it at anything unless you're going to use it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, believe me, the times that we carried it around, we absolutely needed it.
Dr.
Oh.
Allen, hand me one of those, please.
Ruby.
And I hand her one of the guns from the bag that are preloaded. So I go ahead and hand it to Ruby.
Handgun?
Handgun.
Yep.
All right, so she pops out where the bullets are at, make sure how many rounds there are, like clicks it back in, like make sure everything's like clean and good, and like puts it
Ruby.
away. What? These are
What have you been
terrible
doing?
times.
Why do you know how to do that?
Let's not discuss that here. We'll speak later. Actually, I would like to use fast talk if that's at all possible.
Yeah. What are you doing exactly?
I'm communicating to Scarlett. Do you remember that one time when we were younger on the street running around? I had to learn how to fire one of these.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully nobody else understood that.
So roll me a fast talk.
Okay.
To see if you can kind of communicate this in a very speedy and efficient way without having to use too many words.
Where is it on my sheet? Because I just saw it.
Second column at the top.
There you go. Oh,
That's the biggest challenge that we face is finding our.
yeah, I'm a success.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
I'm gonna make my way to the front entrance as well.
Okay. So you guys head round the warehouse and make your way to the front and see if you can get inside and work your way up to the roof. Coming around the front, you notice that the entrance is it isn't locked. You can get in. Looking at the warehouse itself, it is there is a name above the door that states that this is Mortimer and Co. Shipping Warehouse. That is the owners of the property. And you open the door, take a quick look inside, and on the ground level you see there are two carts, horse-drawn carts, empty, and there is a large stack of crates at the back in the corner, and then there is a staircase that leads up to the second level and beyond.
Before I walk in, I'm going to give a look to Ruby and Scarlett. How would you feel if I give, and I put one of the hands on the guns in the bags, and I kind of look towards Scarlett. You're going to need something to protect yourself.
I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a bad idea.
Scarlett will stay behind me. It's fine. We've done this before.
And then I pull out the extra bullets to it, and I give it to Ruby to hold on to. Mm-hmm. Keep us safe.
I'll do my best.
I would
Shall
say
we?
at this point I do have my pistol from that bunch on me as well.
Shall we?
Alan, did you happen to bring that shotgun we mentioned? I did not look into that before we left.
I am so embarrassed. I forgot it on the couch at Carnaby.
Oh, it's fine. Definitely.
We just leave a bunch of weapons laying around an unlocked office building downtown.
Can we just
Locked it on the way
acknowledge
out.
and acknowledge the fact that I am the physician here? I am not supposed to be having the guns, but I have the guns.
Fair.
Listen, we all wear many hats in this team. It's fine.
I don't think I've ever seen any of us wearing a hat.
I wore a hat last week.
I'm wearing one
Ruby's
right now.
wearing a hat right now. We literally and figuratively wear hats.
I will reach into my bag and pull out my heaviest book and have that at the ready to swing.
Yes, that is your weapon of choice, isn't it?
It's
So-
worked many times.
You're gonna just knock some
Hasn't
sense
failed.
into people.
He absolutely has.
I've already started walking into the building.
And I'm walking with Scarlett, and I'm going to hand Dot on one of the handguns.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pull up the rear with Eliza and kind of chit chat with her. So you always do this all the time.
Oh yes. You know. Did you? I'm sorry. I was like, you were a little soft, so I didn't catch what was the.
You
do
guys
we
do this all the time.
Oh, those two? Absolutely the worst enablers. They absolutely bring out the worst in each other.
It's horrible.
It is, but somehow we do end up getting the job done, I suppose. So,
I assume you're putting this in your next novel, correct?
oh, I have anthologies on those two. They,
I would love to hear about them over some tea.
we will absolutely have some, and I do desperately need some tea or maybe something stronger after this is done. Yes.
I agree. So I hope that you know how to fire off a gun, correct?
Oh, yes. I'm quite proficient.
Excellent, because I have a feeling you and I might be the only ones at the moment who have it.
You know, surprisingly enough, despite the hard time that I give everyone, they have pulled through. So I will say, if you are feeling at any all apprehensive, about this mission. I should say that despite what you see and how you feel and what your gut tells you, somehow it will work out. Maybe.
I just walk.
So you all walk into the warehouse.
That's fair.
Scarlett at the front and Eliza at the back. Looking in on the ground floor, again, you see the 2 horse-drawn carts and the crates and a staircase leading up to the second floor and beyond. Where are you heading? You don't see anyone around as well. It appears to be empty at this time.
Do any of the crates that are in here appear to have been rifled through?
No.
Okay.
Taking a quick look, they just appear to be just large wooden crates.
And
Not yet.
I walk up the stairs and I make sure we're acknowledged. I yell out, "Anybody here? Hello?"
You just announced that we're here. What if there are people here?
Don't own this warehouse.
You don't hear anything.
Oh, go.
Let's
Yelling.
walk upstairs.
Okay, so you guys head up the stairs to the second floor. It appears the majority of this is just a large open space. There's a small room at one end with a large, big open window. Appears to be an office. And then you see a small ladder on one side wall that leads to a hatch onto the roof.
Open the hatch to the roof.
Here we go.
You head up the ladder and test the hatch, and it's not locked, but it takes a little bit of force to shunt it open and flip it open, and you make your way up, and you are now stood on the roof of the warehouse, which again it's a gentle slant, so it's not too cumbersome to walk on.
I take a first deep breath and I'm going to help my team on top of the roof one by one. As I'm looking around, particularly when it comes down to the angle of the alley and if anything may have made its way on top of this roof. That's what I'm looking for exactly.
Okay, so roll me anyone who wants to have a look around, a physical look around the roof, roll me a spot hidden.
Sure.
39
I will
on the
say,
die.
while we're doing this, I take off my heels. They're in my hands, and I do say to Scarlett, "You know, it is better that you wore Edward's shoes and not mine today." And I succeeded on that spot hidden.
Okay. Is anyone else rolling?
I'm not. I'm going to be looking the opposite direction. I'm holding up the rear, so I'm just making sure that nothing else is coming behind us. So.
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
Yes, because Alan announced that we were here.
I had to. We don't own this place.
Yes,
And-
but that's the whole point of sneaking around, is that you don't belong there.
Well, we have enough guns. We have enough weapons. I think if there was something, we would have handled it.
Oh, sure. Hello, we're here. Come, please shoot us.
But it ripped somebody. And I'm kind of just going, well, look, it ripped a person really clear. I don't think it would have tried to sneak up on us. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, so you think announcing ourselves would prevent it? Oh, they've invited themselves in. You know, we're not vampires. We don't need to be invited in.
Well, all I'm saying is if they were ghost termites, this would be a completely different situation.
You leave the ghost termites out of this.
And I look at the top of the area, and I'm going to see if there's any claw marks, any digs at it. And I'm actually getting on my stomach and purposely pushing myself towards the alley, also taking a scent of the tiles to see if it matches the stone that we had.
Okay.
Yes, don't lick it.
And I got a 12 on my
Okay.
spot hidden.
Okay, lovely. Whilst you crawl on your belly across the roof to the side of the alleyway, can Scarlett please roll me a mythos check?
1.
Oh. Okay. Okay. So, what happens is, Alan, you're crawling across the floor. You make your way to the edge where the alleyway is then below. You don't see any claw marks. You do see a lot of, what you think is soot on the floor, a lot of black soot. And as you get to that edge, you suddenly get a really strong smell of sulfur. And as you kind of sniff up and inhale that, Scarlett, your vision completely, you're not stood on the roof anymore, and everything goes black for a second, and then you start to hear whispers in your ears. You hear 6 or 7 different voices whispering quietly, male and female, in your head. And some of these you recognise as being whispers and voices you've heard over the past couple of years, and some of these are new voices that you're hearing. And you kind of, in this blackness and in this kind of void, you try and focus on what's being said by these whispers, trying to really, it's a case you've got to strain your hearing to understand what they're saying, because they are speaking very low but very fast as well. And you start to pick out words and phrases, and you hear the word rising, you hear it's collecting, you hear there's not much time, it's moving, they shouldn't have brought it here. And then you're back on the rooftop, and you can feel the breeze sweeping across your face as you're stood on this roof, and you also get this sudden smell of sulfur in your.
I fall to my knees, and I'm just like hands and knees, and I'm just like rising, and I just repeat everything that you said. Rising, it shouldn't be here. It shouldn't have been brought here. They're collecting, and I'm just like saying it over and over and over and over again.
Scarlett, what do you say?
There's new voices, and they're talking, and it's new information, and this is what it's saying, and this is what it's saying to me, and I go back into the rhythm of it over and over.
Scarlett, are you okay? And I'm holding on to like I'm just on my stomach, but I kind of turn my head awkwardly.
Somebody write this down, and I just keep going and going and going and going and going. I don't want to forget, and I go and I go, and I try to hold on to the words, and I try to hold on, and I keep saying it, and I'm just like crying, and like, would somebody freaking please write this down?
Of course. And Dot will take out her from her bag, her pen and paper, and start writing down everything.
Yeah, and then after a minute of Scarlett repeating that it's gone. You can't remember the words anymore, and it's just the breeze you feel on your face is the sound you hear, and it's the only sound you recognise now from that void is the wind.
I put the gun down, I grab Scarlett's hands, and I start counting with her to try to like bring her back down into like reality and start breathing again.
And I'm crying with you, and I'm like holding you, and I'm trying to focus on the numbers, and I get flashes, and I'm just like trying to focus, and eventually I breathe and I calm down, and I come back, and I'm just like,
keep counting with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's okay. Somebody's written it down, and we will figure this out. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gave us a bit of a scare.
And like what do you see with your glasses?
I look around.
You look through your glasses across the roof, and you don't really see anything. until you get to Alan and where Alan is. And you see that the ground all around him is giving off this red aura. And you see the 4 streaks coming up from the wall below Alan onto the rooftop where he is. And you see this red aura is actually, it's rather than just being a generalized glow, there is some shape to it now on the floor.
What kind of a shape do I
you see the silhouette, kind of this red aura shape, and it looks as if the best way to describe it is if you were to look an aerial view of an animal, and you saw kind of the overhead silhouette of a dog-like creature, but scale-wise, it's probably 2.5 times the size of Alan.
Size of a what?
Of Alan.
Of Alan. Alan, I don't mean to alarm you, but you seem to be standing right in the middle of this glowing aura of a dog-like creature, only much larger than you, with claw marks around, but right where you're standing.
I'm not moving. I'm going to stay exactly in the same position. I'm holding exactly that. Can I move now?
I mean, you were moving before. I just didn't want to startle you.
Is there anything I feel on the ground? I'm going to see if there's, and I plant my face and kind of to the tiles.
Will you stop sniffing and licking things?
It has to look, the stone. That's all. The stone. Is there anything?
You smell, well, again, you put your face to the tiles and you smell sulfur. And do you lick the tiles, or do you just rub your face
I just pull the tiles. I'm going to see if I can pull the tile to see if there's anything under it.
Yeah, you have a go and you can't. It's like a solid slate roof tile. But you pull your face up and you have got like soot on the end of your nose and on your forehead. And it is a strong sulfur smell, which isn't something you would expect to be on a rooftop.
Well, and I kind of at least look at it and I try to push the soot where Eliza's or the outline is. Does this mean anything to any of you? The words? The soot?
And looking over what I'd written down that Scarlett had shared with us earlier, are any of those words familiar in terms of the books that we were reading through earlier?
I have one of the books with me.
Reading through the book, remembering through the books, the only thing that triggers any thought from what you've read is in the book on mythology is the talk of the pantheon of gods, and the only thing that you can kind of twig from that is dogs held a position of power within the Egyptian society as well as cats did, but dogs had a strong position within that. And from Eliza mentioning the shape of a dog, it's yeah,
not quite like that one.
No, slightly bigger than that. But yeah,
a bit more ferocious.
Yeah, that's the only thing you really sense is that dogs had a strong position, and that's something you could probably look into more.
I don't know if it's relevant, but Rubi, in that book that we were looking at, the dogs were mentioned pretty frequently in that, like they were, revered in a way. It may be nothing, but just something I thought I'd share.
So do you think that perhaps this outline of a thing is a protection rather than something to be spooked by?
Maybe.
And if so, if this is a protection, what's underneath it that it would be protecting if that's the case?
Do you have an address to somebody who checked out these books?
We did.
Mr. Fry did.
I think this person might have the answers for the puzzle that we've been collecting.
Shall we head there? Let's do it. We have enough information from here.
Mr. Fry, do you still have that address?
Yes.
Well, thank goodness. I don't know about you all, but I'm ready to get off a roof right now.
Yes,
And-
I would love to put my shoes back on.
Oh, yeah, that's smart, actually. And Dot's twisted her ankle several times, but never thought to take off her shoes.
Head downstairs, and the car that we had called earlier has it arrived.
You make your way back down the stairs, and it's just pulling down the street at the front. Yeah.
He's been sitting there for 20 minutes wondering where the hell we're at.
But yeah, the car is there for you, ready.
I make a point of putting the pistol in my handbag so no one sees it.
Yes, I just held on to mine rather than putting it back into a large duffel bag full of ammunition.
Sit shotgun Fry, you've got the address, Edward. I'm going to go in the back with my soot-covered face and look at my 2 things that I have the insignias on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you all get in the car. Edward gives the driver the address, and you make your way to forget their name suddenly. Francis Goodwin's home. The drive takes about half an hour to circumnavigate its way through the streets of London to the outskirts. Do you guys talk about anything on the way?
I'd like to investigate the tiles with Dr. Allen, see if there was anything of the research that we may have done in the past.
Particularly the spine of the book as well. That's the other part of this. We have the spine that's the same message, the stone, and the tile. We've done 3 years of research in preparation for this. We were just trying to see if there's anything that connects these 3 items together.
Yeah, no problem. In regards to the tile and the spine of the book, Alan, you'll recall the message that was linked to the tile when it was discovered in the house, which was, with this, I will be protected from the darkness.
And I facilitate that back to Rubi. It did us no good last time, and I hold on to it because it's the symbol. But it's supposed to protect us from the dark. I don't know what this stone means, and I don't know what the book is, but for some reason this tells us that whatever may show up, hopefully this will protect us.
Oh, I hope you're right.
Oh, I hope so too. I saw what that thing did to its body, and
You're a doctor. You should be used to this kind of stuff now.
Oh, God, no. No.
Well,
No.
then I pray that the God is looking over us at this point.
And as we're looking at these tiles in the book, is there anything I'm going to try to investigate the spine of the book as we're driving over there. And actually, the first thing I do is I kind of stop and I kind of take the items and look directly at Scarlett. Is there anything that this may tell you? Eliza, your glasses, maybe we should take a look at this here.
Yes, I would like to take a look at the books, and I also say, yes, and also while we are all here together, perhaps I should also take a look at that letter that seemed to be a bunch of scratches and scribbles, and that we can all look at together.
Ooh, and Dot will pull from the folder that was handed to her that particular letter.
Yeah? Okay.
So now looking at all of these collectively, we all check out everything, and I look at them through my...
Yeah. So as you're in the car ride to the address, looking at the book and within the centre spine, the symbol written on there, You look at it through the binoculars, and it's huge. I mean, it's like that big in front of your face. And moving the book back, you don't see anything different. You just see the symbol there, but obviously you've got the red tint from your binoculars, but there is no difference. There's no glow or anything. Again, looking at the tile, you don't see anything different at this time. It is just the slate tile with the carving in and everything. Looking at the bit of stone with the hieroglyph, no change, nothing different. When Dot hands you the letter, that is just scribbled over. That came from Lord Carnarvon and given to Samuel. You look through the binoculars and you see red.
Oh, here we are.
And you move the letter back to a distance where you can actually focus on it better. And looking at it, you see that he's like used a pen and just scribbled over the entire thing. But kind of pulling it back and looking, you can now see that there is in red an image on the page and text that you can see only through the binoculars.
Well, it's terrible penmanship, but when you do look through these, it does actually start to make sense. What do I see?
You see this symbol.
Oh,
in the
yes, we
centre
have a
of the
common
page.
theme going here.
And you see the words, "Don't let it out," written underneath.
It's a symbol, and then it just seems to say, "Don't let it out."
Don't let what out?
As she's reading this,
Precisely.
I would like to take note as to what the driver's perspective, like, is the driver listening in, or is the driver just driving? I want to make sure that they're not like perking up at the information that's being said.
Yeah, looking at the driver, the way this kind of cab is built, you have the driver and Edward at the front, in essentially a separate compartment to the passenger bay at the back. So the driver themselves can't see in or hear you in the back, and neither can Edward at this time, as he's sat up front with the driver.
Okay.
I'll look over to the driver and it's like, so, how long you been driving around here?
He just looks at you and goes, and carries
Come on. Who's the weirdest passenger you've had?
Again, he looks at you and goes, and carries on driving.
Let's not speak English. That's all right.
But yeah, he kind of just he's focused on his job, and doesn't look very chatty.
That's all right. That's all right.
And you continue on.
Nice day today, huh?
So you guys continue on, and after probably another 5 to 10 minutes, you arrive at the address of Francis Goodwin, and the car pulls up outside, and the driver says, "Oh, this is the place."
Much appreciated, and thank you for the riveting conversation.
He just gives you a slight
I
nod.
pull out some cash and hand it to him.
So what are you all doing?
I don't know about you, but I always love seeing the inside of other people's homes. I'm rather excited.
I turn to Scarlett at that note, and in fast talk, I would like to say in fast talk, don't touch anything or take anything.
I repeat to her in my fast talky whatever response that our sister conversations have created, and I'm like, I can't promise you anything.
All right. Get out. I don't know if I'm on the end or not. If I'm on the end, I'd like to exit the car.
So you all get out of this car, and it's the front of the building. It's a series of terraced houses, quite well off houses, quite nice homes with a couple steps up to the door, with a nice large front door. You head up the steps to the door. Are you just going to walk into this person's home? Are you going to knock on the door? What are you all doing?
Well, Alan seems to like to announce himself at all places. What would you like to do, Alan?
I think we should knock on the door. Let's take your route. The answers.
You knock on the door, and you give it a good solid rap, and on the third one, the door clicks open.
Of course.
Walk in.
Do you slowly push the door open?
Slowly push the door open.
Yeah. So you slowly push the door open, and it has that, that stereotypical long creak as you open the door, and you hear no other sound in the home.
Is there an upstairs, downstairs? Can you give us a description of what this
open the door
looks
and
like?
looking in, you see a straight hallway with a staircase that leads upstairs. There's a door at the end of the hallway and a door at the right in the downstairs.
Do you see anything with your glasses, Eliza?
I'm very slowly proceeding with my gun in one hand and the opera glasses in the other.
It's so cute.
So looking in, Eliza, you don't see anything. You see the stairs, you see the door at the end, and you look at the door at the right, which is... the door at the end is fully closed. The door on the right is slightly open to a thin slither, and you see a faint red light through the binoculars.
In which direction, I'm sorry, did you say?
On the downstairs room on the right.
Well, other than poor taste in furniture, I do see some a red glowy light coming from that direction on the right.
Hey, Edward, there's and I point towards that direction.
That way?
As I point with my gun.
Big book. I'm just going up to it.
I love that your book is your weapon.
Dot will follow him closely behind with her handgun.
No problem. So, Edward, you walk up with Dot following closely to the door, which is, again, it's only a thin slither open. What are you doing? Are you throwing the door open and
I am just gonna just gonna kick it open and just yell, "Francis Goodwin!"
Oh my dear.
Okay, you kick the door open and shout that as you step in. You hear no reply. You look in the room and you see a large fireplace. You see a large armchair in front facing it with a small side table next to the chair. On the table, you see a small wooden box open, and you see the corner of someone's shoulder sat in the chair.
Whispering to Edward, I don't have a good feeling about this.
I'm gonna take my book and I'm gonna throw it at the back of the chair.
That's okay.
Make me a dex check.
Success.
Okay. You throw the book, which is your standard weapon of choice, is a nice thick leather-bound book. You throw it at the back of the chair, and you hit it square in the middle near the top. It hits the chair, clatters to the floor, and for a second, silence, nothing. And then suddenly you see, from where you saw the shoulder, a hand drop forward onto the table, hits with a bang, something rolls out of the hand onto the floor, and then silence.
I will walk up to whatever rolled onto the floor and pick it up.
Okay, so you go over, you pick up what's rolled onto the floor to the side. Are you going to look at the item you pick up?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I need you to roll me a sanity check. And before you tell me whether it is a success or fail, we will leave this there and we'll pick up this in the next session on Carnaby Street Case Files, where we will see what happens.
Oh my gosh.
So, thank you everyone for watching. This is going to be a two-parter, and it's getting interesting. But for everyone who stuck around, thank you very much. To all my investigators, thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, this is getting fun. So
Thank
we're gonna do
you.
2 parts.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Lord
much.
Master.
But, yeah, so we'll announce the date for the next session on our social media. I think everyone here will be announcing it as well. So keep your eyes peeled. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is our little Call of Cthulhu show. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
You.
So don't go anywhere.